Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering another DC animated movie, Superman vs. the Elite.
Now here, Superman learns that there is a new superhero team around called the Elite. They quickly prove themselves as a team of extraordinary power guided by a confident sense of direct practicality. Okay.
Yeah,
as their popularity grows, Superman finds that they are shining him with disquieting methods. They grow more ruthless by the day, even as the public appears to approve the use of their excessive force.
Okay, that's a fancy way of saying that they want to kill villains.
And they dismiss Superman's Boy Scout way of looking at things.
Now, before we get into that, be sure to like, subscribe, and click notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Yes. Now, this movie was a dollar store find, and it didn't last very long, but there was action all through this movie.
Right.
And it also had a different cast of voice actors than in usual DC movies. You had George Newbern as Superman.
Yeah,
and
that was different.
And Paulie Perrette from NCIS as Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Robert Auckland Downs was Manchester Black, as well as Polkastani Ambassador. And as I keep saying, Manchester Black is one cool name.
And then they had voice acting stars like Greg Griffin, Augie Banks,
D. Bradley Baker,
Jennifer Hale, Andrew Kishino, Pamela Kosh, Paul Eating, aka Grandpa Max.
Yes. And did you say Augie Banks?
Yeah, that was my second one I mentioned.
So that was a great one, yeah. So this actually was an interesting movie, and it was the plot actually kept your attention. You really wanted to see what was going to happen. And for us, this was the first time we saw a movie that presented the question if there were superheroes or heroes who could use force and who would kill the villains instead of saving them, making life better for everyone as the premise goes, would they do it?
Right. And if you think about it, this is something that this is from, I believe, 2012. And this is around the time when MCU first started, their first phase with the Avengers movies and stuff. And I think about this is also around the time Tiger and Bunny came out, 2011. And they had a similar thing. While it wasn't the main story arc like it is for Superman vs. the Elite, it presented a question that apparently was, I guess, floating around at that time, because if you think about it and how it reflects now on how superheroes are written, and it was always this thing where the characters, there's usually heroes that want to kill the villains, thinking that's gonna fix it, like putting them in prison or trying to inform them isn't gonna work. Just kill them off, get rid of them, and then you'll have fewer crimes happening. And then the hero's like, that's not what a hero does. That makes you as bad as a villain. And it's weird because that's kind of what's happening now with a lot of people being comfortable with heroes killing off villains or defeating villains with the brute force like the Elite. They just present it in a different fashion where this is the no other choice. This is to end their reign of terror once and for all. And it's presented as the only way. While in here, it's not the only way, but this is what they want to do in order to, as they believe, will be to bring peace.
And the way that it was presented, it worked up to that level. When it first started off, it was just, hey, Superman, here. We're here to help you. Well, actually, Superman hears about the Elite, and then he goes to Europe to find out whom they are. He meets them, that creepy Elite girl. And they tell him, we have powers. So Manchester Black is seriously a very cool name. Psychically links with him and supposedly shows him his backstory, which we find out has been faked and altered. Superman sees the story. Of course, Superman, has empathy for what he's seen, and then he says now he uses his powers for good, and they want to help Superman, and so they say, okay, we'll help you. And in the beginning, they use their powers and they help Superman. And the first couple times, it was just they used a strong arm. They didn't kill anyone. They didn't suggest killing. And then they began to ease into, but you know, why don't we just take care of them now and then you don't have to deal with them ever again? Superman was like, no, that's not how it works. It doesn't go like that. That's not the right thing to do. Then they began to say, Superman, he's weak. We're better than Superman. And that's when the movie really starts to pick up speed, and you see the dichotomy of the, you know, getting rid of the evil once and for all versus dispensing justice the right way.
And how they have it is really presented well. I mean, of course the viewer can make their own decision, but ultimately, you know, the way Superman is doing it has to be the way it's done because, you know, it's his movie. But but
also because in DC Comics,
yeah,
you know, the moral way is to let justice prevail and take care of the villains.
Right. And you know, it's been done all this time, and while it keeps the issues going, it doesn't. Yeah, you think about it, like it doesn't seem right to do that because in a way that makes them like the villain, killing off another villain just makes them the villain in that way. So,
and especially, maybe the person is not the villain. Maybe they have been wrongly, you know, accused and so forth.
Right.
And then you end up killing someone who's innocent,
right,
which is always there.
Right. And then you had in here with the people actually siding with the elite.
Right.
Where it's like, hey, the crime rate's down. They're actually doing their job, and they think Superman's lame because he won't take them out, and now they're really praising the heck out of them.
And it worked in the beginning because, again, they were using not as excessive force. Then the more the people praised them, the more they got covered by the news, the more attention they got, the bigger their heads got, and then the true nature and the true what they truly wanted from the beginning came out. And then when Superman dared to oppose them, well, the answer then was kill Superman. And they literally attempted to kill Superman.
Yeah. And then when they got to that multiple fight scenes, actually, they got very intense and even scary when it got to like the climax of the movie, to a point where even the citizens were no longer finding their way to be the right way or the better way. It was starting to actually become scary to them. It's like, they're not actually going to kill Superman, are they? They can't do that. And when they were seeing they were not holding back and they were really out to destroy him, that's when the whole viewpoint changed altogether. And like I said, it really is the focal point of the film for that. You think on one hand, not knowing, like, hey, yeah, take them out, that's it, you won't have any criminals anymore. But then how are you dispensing justice and you're doing the same actions as them, only to what you believe is a bad guy? And like, what does that solve?
And then this became, it went beyond being a vigilante. It went to something that became totally abhorrent. And again, when you want to kill the Man of Steel, when you want to kill Superman, who's done all of this for the world, because he doesn't agree with your way of dispensing justice, then you know something's wrong. By that time, it was too late, and no one could stop the elite but Superman, which he does in a way that we won't spoil if you haven't seen this movie.
Right.
And this movie got high praise from Behind the Voice Actors Awards in 2013. That won Best Male Vocal Performance in a TV Special by George Newbern as Superman, as well as Robert Atkin Downes as Manchester Black. Yet again, a very cool name. And then the entire cast got Best Vocal Ensemble TV Special, plus some additional awards. Best Sound Editing, Direct-to-Video, and quite a few more. So this movie in 2012-2013 really made an impact, and it was one of DC's better animated releases, and we have to recommend it if you haven't seen it. This is definitely a movie you should pick up and see.
Yes, it's definitely probably one of the better DC movies because they really have a lot of hits and misses, but this is definitely one of their hits.
So if you have seen Superman versus the Elite, Batman versus the Elite would be cool too.
But then he'd win.
Let us know what you think in the comments below, and let us know what you think of the premise of this movie as well.
Yes, and be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and Molded Paws videos.
Absolutely.
So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket.